Okay, we're at the American Legion in Ludlow. Delicious desserts.
Okay.
Are you serving dessert?
Yes, we have strawberry rhubarb here and pecan pie.
Ooh, for Mark.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
Hello, I'm Harry Gruber. I joined the Navy when I was 17. My parents had to sign for me. I went in 1944.
Had you already graduated from high school?
I didn't graduate from high school because I was going to be drafted.
Right.
So I joined the Navy.
That happens to a lot of people. That's, yeah.
Yeah, and I got my diploma after I got out on a service diploma.
Yeah.
I went to boot camp in Sampson, New York. After boot camp, I went back to Sampson, got assigned to with 500 other guys on a troop train to Pensacola, Florida.
Ooh.
I spent the rest of my time there. Worked on the flight line. I was a plane captain. In fact, I had 2 planes that I had to take care of. Softly Field was the field I was on.
What type of planes were they? Big
The
ones?
type of planes we had were SBDs, which were scout bombers made by Douglas. They were instrumental in ending the war. They were aircraft carrier planes.
Like two people maybe? 2 people in them or just
There were
one?
2 people in a pilot and a gunner in a bag. So that's what I did while I was on the flight line. I used to pre-flight the planes before they went out. Didn't do much maintenance work on them, but just kind of took care of them. Got flight time every month. In order to get flight pay, I had to fly 4 hours in a month. And I got to fly quite a lot with instructors. And most of the instructors were guys that would come back from the Pacific that were pilots in the war
Yeah.
in South Pacific.
So they give you some thrill rides?
Pardon? I loved flying.
Yeah.
Oh, I love flying, yeah.
Now how about, I mean, if you were in Pensacola for a couple years, right?
Yeah.
Did you have to worry about hurricanes when they came in?
We did. We didn't have them as much as they have around here
No?
now.
Well, global warming, I guess.
We had to adjust our daily activities to take care of possible hurricanes, double tie the planes down, and so on and so forth. Sometimes they flew them out. If the hurricane was imminent, they would fly them out to Little Rock or somewhere out there.
Our daughter lives near Norfolk, Virginia, and when she first moved down there, a hurricane was coming up the coast, and we were nervous because she'd never experienced a hurricane, and she's a teacher, and so during or after the hurricane, I said, "Didn't you notice something different?" She said, "Well, when we left the school I was in, everyone covered the computers with plastic," and she said, "Then I noticed all the Navy planes are flying out to sea." So they were escaping what they thought would be a hurricane. So, yeah.
The rank that I obtained was aviation machinist mate 3rd class. That's what I had when I got discharged.
So when you came back to Ludlow, right? Is that where you came back to?
I came back to London.
And then what did you use? I mean, you didn't work in an airline, a flight
No.
at that point.
I kind of wanted to go to aircraft engine school, but I never made it.
Wow. Huh. Wow.
Casey Jones was the name of the school in New Jersey, but I never made it.
Huh. But some good memories, I'm sure, of your time in the Navy.
Used to go to Liberty and Mobile, and once in a while I get to New Orleans.
Huh.
I visited some of my friends that I went to school with. Leo Pluta.
Oh, my uncle.
Your
My
uncle,
uncle.
yeah.
Yeah.
and Ronald Spaulding. They were both stationed at
Really?
Keesler Air Force Base in Mississippi.
Huh.
And we all went to New Orleans one time and made a weekend trip out.
Well, I remember my uncle, so
Yeah.
I probably know where you might have been, maybe.
Huh?
You might have been in some bars, maybe. I don't know.
Well,
But-
yeah,
Fun time. That's
I
good.
know that we had a good time down there. And,
Yeah.
and we were down in the French Quarter.
Mhm.
That's quite the place. And as I remember, and I don't remember a lot about it, but I didn't have a place to stay that night. And
Small one, not too big.
some person that was right in the French Quarter
Said, "Come on
called me
in."
off the street and put me up.
That's
for the
very
night.
nice. They
Yeah,
probably knew
very
you were in the
nice,
service.
very
And
nice. They were good to service
Yeah, that's
guys there.
nice. And you've probably been a member of this American Legion forever.
Yeah, I was in it when I first come home, and
Yeah.
I was in for several years, and then I started building my house. I got out for a few years.
Yep,
and,
yep.
And yeah,
But
and I'm
the-
back in again.
This
so,
is a great post, though. So
Yeah.
they do a lot.
so
Well, thank you, Harry. I appreciate it.
you're welcome.
I guess we're gonna put the tables right.
And what I'll do is when I get back to the museum, next week I will send you.
This is a 50. These three items right here. Rises for the round. Right. First, second, third, second, third. You want to say something?
Just a few words.
And still.
We're not on one of the Isn't it nice, the music? Okay.
Have him in the spot. Some people Oh, yeah, that will do it.
I'll see you at 4.
Okay. We're gonna get
Nice seeing you.
that set, yeah, we'll do that right over here. There's a loading right there. We'll do it right over there. Sure, sure. Put the flag behind it. Ready?
Which new? New Grand Garage or new now? New day.
Thank Okay, thank you everyone for coming. We really appreciate it. I'm Dick Dunseith. I'm with the Black River Academy Museum Board of Trustees. And we are pleased as punch to have the opportunity to do this with the American Legion. And we brought this idea to them, and they were unbelievably gracious in hosting us and giving us an opportunity to bring our stuff to show off, and a number of them brought their stuff to show off. So we're really, really happy about that. Thank you all for coming. Thank you for the support that you give to the museum. I just want to say, we do, in case you didn't see, we have a raffle going on over here for a couple of old photos that have Calvin Coolidge in it and his involvement with the American Legion. And then we also have a 50-50 raffle going, just want to point that out. I want to thank especially Fred Wilson, the commander of the American Legion, for everything he did. Okay. He been great in helping us out, and also Andy Sheldon, adjutant, for helping us out as well. We could not have gotten this all set up and everything done without all of their help. And they, at this point, would like to make a presentation to the museum. So I'm going to call them up with Sue and Georgia.
Oops, I'm right in the light.
Yeah, it's a little bright.
It's a little bright there. So first, I'll just throw a couple plugs out for the Legion and the museum. I'd like to say thanks to the museum for coming to us to ask us about doing this. This is part of who we are. We like helping the community, obviously preserving our history, and showing all the great, things on the military. I think if we don't remember our past, we're doomed to repeat it. So thanks for coming to us. That's what we're about. We do a lot more. There's a lot more here than a bar, which is what a lot of people think. Scholarships and Americanism, youth, and all that. This Legion does a tremendous amount for this community. So again, thanks. Also, probably, I don't know how many of you know this, but prior to just a couple weeks ago, the American Legion membership was always dependent upon times of war. Our membership is set by Congress. That changed. So thanks to this Congress that we currently have, we're non-political, so I'm not throwing out any political type of stuff, but thanks to the Congress that we have right now, they've passed the Legion Act, and it's open to all members in the military since December 7th, 1941, which is great. So we get to recognize all our veterans, and that's a really good thing for them. So good to the American Congress for that. So also, we have, our name is Ballard-Hobart, our namesake. It's two boys from Ludlow that were killed in World War I. Frederick E. Ballard was killed on September 26, 1918. And Harry Hobart was killed September 29th, 1918. They were 3 days apart. Frederick is an MIA. He's still mission in action. They know he was killed, but they never recovered his remains. So they were buried. So if you two could come up.
Before we do that, just let me, we would be remiss if we didn't compliment the people that are the silent people behind the scene that do all the work here. We've got the people down working on the chow line and everything else, and we have the bartenders, and we have Beth back here. All of these people help, as well as the Black River Museum that have put in a lot of time and effort for this particular thing. And we thank them, and I think we should give them all a round of applause as well. And then you go ahead.
So a couple years ago, we set out on a little bit. Nobody really knew Ballard and Hobart. And I went to the American Battle Monument Museum, and we got lithographs. So this is on Frederick E. Ballard. He's on the plaque from the Missing in Action at the St. Mihiel Cemetery in France. Harry Hobart is in the Moose Argonne Cemetery in France. Is where he is buried. So we'd like to, I got 3 copies of these. We'd like to present one to the Black River Museum to display. For you. We also have some books and stuff that go along with that.
Okay. Yeah, thank you very much. We certainly appreciate this. We do have a military exhibit on the third floor of the museum. These will fit in nicely there, and we'd invite all of you to come visit us if you haven't yet. So thank you again.
Great.
Okay, thanks again to the American Legion for everything they've done. This has just been a fabulous thing. And Alice Nitka is here with us, and she just wanted to come up and say a couple of words.
I have this paper, but it doesn't mean that there are a lot of words. I'm one of your local Windsor County senators. I serve along with Allison Clarkson and Dick McCormick, and we represent all the towns in Windsor County, from Royalton to Weston and Andover, and we also have Londonderry in Windham County and Mount Holly in Rutland County. So thank you. So thank you for inviting me to say a few words. On the 100th anniversary of the American Legion, just think, the 100th anniversary. The Legion was created by an act of Congress in Washington, D.C. on September 16, 1919, and this happened during the presidency of Woodrow Wilson. The purposes of the corporation are as follows. And in hearing what's going on here, you'll see that they're still, after all these years, following all these rules. The purposes are to uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States, to promote peace and goodwill among the peoples of the United States and all the nations of the earth, to preserve the memories and incidents of 2 world wars and the other great hostilities fought to uphold democracy, to cement the ties and comradeship born of service, and to consecrate the efforts of its members to mutual helpfulness and service to their country. And we certainly have seen that through the years here in Ludlow and at other legions. Ballard-Hobart, as Andy mentioned, is named in honor of Frederick Ballard and Harry Hobart, men who served in World War I and lost their lives in that horrendous conflict. The Legion has been preserving the motto and goals of the corporation ever since. It is fortunate that the histories of these people through the years have been preserved by the Black River Academy Museum, which has, as they mentioned, have gathered a lot of artifacts. Many of them are here. And to visit the museum is very impressive to go there. And it's run on a shoestring. And they're doing a great job and service to our community. I really have enjoyed looking around at the artifacts that are here. I mean, you look at them and you see many names and people that you know of and whose families are still in town. And there are many more families through the years who will be added to, that roster of events and history. We know of the service of our Legion members throughout our communities. To name a few, and I certainly don't have all that the Legion members do, and their supporters and friends who also do a tremendous amount. Most of it is voluntary and takes a tremendous amount of time. So some of the things are, of course, we have the auxiliary services. They have been around always helping other people. The National Emergency Fund, local emergencies, burials, the color guard. They're at parades all over the state and very well respected. I mean, I see them. I'm in some parades myself when I'm out campaigning, and they're the color guard in all kinds of areas. I see them in remote little towns. I see them in Montpelier, and it's really a tremendous service to the whole state that they perform. Of course, they do. They all know how the Legion helps at memorials. They help with transportation, oratory contests, the Boys and Girls State Program, which is for young people who come to the State House over the summer and learn all about government. They've been sponsoring that, the Boys and Girls States, forever, it seems. They also do, of course, Legion Baseball. I don't know if that, a lot of people participate, a lot of young fellows participate in that. scholarship programs, maintenance of this building, which is not inexpensive to do, and extremely important to all, comradeship and camaraderie. There is certainly a great deal more to thank our Post for, and, well, let's see. Well, anyway, and I want to congratulate the Post on its 100th anniversary, and let's all give them a big round of applause.
Okay, thank you very much, Alice. Yes, and I'm just going to reiterate about coming to visit the museum. Please do. We're right up here on High Street, if you don't know where we are. And as I mentioned before, with this raffle of these pictures and so forth, Calvin Coolidge is one of our big claims to fame. He went to school, it was Black River Academy until 1938. And Calvin Coolidge graduated from Black River Academy, as well as, I mean, a lot of you probably know Leslie, who works across the street at Berkshire Bank as the manager. She has this uniform that's right over here, has been in her office hanging, and I went over there and asked her, I said, you know, we're doing this thing, maybe you want to, you know, let us bring the uniform over. As it turns out, this is her grandfather's uniform. He served in World War II. He grew up here in Ludlow. He was the postmaster at one time here in Ludlow, and he also attended at one point in time the Black River Academy. So did not know anything about the uniform, but when I went over and asked her, I was very surprised to find out. You can see how everything kind of comes together, you know. So it's kind of a cool thing. Okay, so now we did invite some other people to come, other politicians and so forth, and dignitaries. We did get a letter from Senator Leahy. We also got one from Governor Scott. And we're going to have Newton Rose come up and read both of those letters, as well as a small passage from a speech that President Coolidge gave. I guess, or maybe he was the vice president at the time. What did we decide on that? He was either the president or the vice president at the time. He gave a speech to the National Convention of the American Legion. Okay, so he's going to read those three items.
Thank you. So I can start with Governor Scott's letter. It's dated August 24th, 2019. Dear Legion Post 36, congratulations to you on celebrating 100 years of service. It is important to recognize the brave and dedicated history of Americans' heroes like our veterans. Vermont veterans have a storied background in performing courageous acts in defense of our nation. This Salute to Veterans exhibit provides a unique chance for community members to appreciate military heroes from the Civil War to present day. Also, this exhibit with the Black River Academy Museum is a great opportunity to distinguish those heroes as well as shares local heritage. Again, congratulations on this impressive milestone. Sincerely, Philip B. Scott, Governor. And the next letter is from Senator Leahy. It's dated August 15th, 2019. Dear Commander Wilson, I was delighted to learn that the American Legion, Post 36, and the Black River Academy Museum will be hosting a salute to veterans in celebration of the American Legion's 100th anniversary. My wife Marcelle and I are continually proud of our veterans and their families, as their selfless sacrifices have enabled all of us to live in a free nation. It is appropriate to honor their patriotism, and I am certain that the exhibition of military artifacts, the Civil War to today, will serve as a reminder of how grateful all of us should be to those who served our country. In honor of this important occasion, please accept from me, for use at Post 36, a flag that was recently flown over the U.S. Capitol. Sincerely, Senator Patrick Leahy. And the flag is right over there. And lastly, I can just read a quick excerpt from a speech given by Calvin Coolidge on October 6, 1925. It was before the American Legion convention. And he said, the magnitude of the service which you rendered for your country and the inhumanity is beyond estimation. He said, we shall all be made aware of the still small voice arising from the fireside of every devoted home in the land seeking the things which are eternal. To such a country, to such a cause, the American Legion has dedicated itself. Upon this rock, you stand for the service of humanity. Thank you.
Andy's going to come up for 1 second here.
All right, so just like to recognize one of our members of the American Legion. He's not quite our oldest, but he's pretty close to it. He's our third oldest, right, at 93. He's a World War II veteran, so coined as the greatest generation that ever lived, right, that fought for us in World War II. And he also attended the Black River Academy up until 7th grade. Yeah, so Harry Gruber, thanks for everything that you've done for us. So.
Okay, that's it. Just want to mention that we also have with us tonight Dave Venter, lives up in Mount Holly. He has some footage from when he was in Vietnam. And was a part of a helicopter gunship squadron over there, and he has some home video footage from that. So he's going to be over there, and he's going to show that and maybe talk about it a little bit. So if you'd like to see that, that's going to be right over there. Also, Sharon Bixby is here. She's recording this for Okemo Valley Television, formerly Ludlow Public Television. She would like any veterans that are here who would like to do a little, vocal history, if you will, on their time in the service. She would be happy to film that and have that available for Okemo Valley Television. Okay? And that's it. Thank you very, very much for attending.
My name is Dave Venter. I was in the Navy for about 21 years. And in 1971, I was stationed in Vietnam with the Navy squadron called Helicopter Attack Squadron Light 3, HAL 3. It was the only squadron like it in the Navy. And it was based in Vietnam only. There was no U.S. stationing of that squadron. And the pilots and the crew rotated over there for a year tour of duty. The squadron itself had 9 detachments that were spread around the Mekong Delta in support of, at one time, all those weird-looking boats that the U.S. had that went up and down the canals. By the time I got there in '70, those boats had been turned over to the South Vietnamese, and they never got underway. So our mission became basically to support any U.S. in country, which included the Army or whatever. It wasn't just a Navy mission, although the base that I was at, called Dong Camp, did have a SEAL detachment with it. And the SEALs of Vietnam, that's where they developed the tactics that they even use to this day. Because prior to that, they were basically UDT or frogmen, and they didn't have the cohesiveness of the SEAL units. And there was a SEAL team, SEAL Team 1 was in Vietnam with me, and it consisted of 12 guys. Where I was at, and each PAL 3 detachment consisted of 2 Huey gunships that the Army loaned us, because the Navy didn't have any of its own. And we had 8 pilots and 8 crewmen that served as mechs or metalsmiths or electricians or whatever, in case we had to do any troubleshooting on the helicopters, light troubleshooting. If we had to do major stuff, it would be sent back to the main squadron, which is located in the center of the Delta, a town called Venturi. And the mechs and the metalsmiths also served as gunners. The helicopter Huey that we had on the left side had a minigun, which fired 4,000 rounds a minute. On the right side, I had a 50 caliber machine gun. It fired about 750 rounds a minute. And the 50 caliber was used to go through bunkers, because the minigun, which is basically a 30 caliber, 30-30, 7.62 round, wouldn't go through the bunkers. And then in addition to the two guns, minigun and 50, we had 14 rockets, 7 on each side, 2.75-inch unguided, if you will, rockets. You had to sight them in and fire. They didn't have any kind of a guidance system with them. So with that, my gunner, a guy named Doug Taylor, got a hold of, and one of the pilots, Lieutenant J.G. Mike Reed, did a lot of 8mm filming while he was over there. The gunner I had, Doug Taylor, got those films and was able to convert them pretty professionally, as you might see, considering it's a homegrown unit, a homegrown effort, into this video. It's totally at an hour long. It's done in segments. You don't have to be here for the hour if you don't want to be. I'll just show you the first segment, which starts out while we are supporting the SEALs, SEAL mission. Those missions were by far the most demanding, I guess, and only me and my laundryman knew how scared I was. If you flew a helicopter less than 1,500 feet, you were subject to being shot down by small arms fire. So if you transverse the delta of the country, you always stayed above 1,500 feet. However, in support of the SEALs, you couldn't see them on the ground at 1,500 feet. So we would be at 300 feet. And we were probably doing the same pattern circling, so we were kind of setting ourselves up for anything. And the SEALs were inserted on their operations by slicks. They were helicopters that carried them but didn't have any guns. We had the guns, couldn't carry them or any extra people because we were already flying the Huey at 1,000 pounds over the maximum it was designed to fly at. Consequently, if we had an engine failure on takeoff, we'd end up rolling into a wall. So we would prep the area before the SEALs got dropped by slicks, and then depending on what they ran into on the ground, we continue the fire. And that's what this first segment will depict, I guess. I'll stop it every now and then just to try to point something out to you.
Vietnam is already under attack, sometimes by a single assassin, sometimes by a band of guerrillas, recently by full battalions. The peaceful borders of Burma, Cambodia, and India have been repeatedly violated, and the peaceful people of Laos are in danger of losing the independence they gained not so long ago. No one can call these wars of liberation, for these are free countries, living under their own governments. Nor are these aggressions any less real, because men are knifed in their homes and not shot in the field of battle.
Our efforts in war or peace will continue, he said, and he looked toward tomorrow.
It will be there when peace comes to us. And so will we. Not with soldiers and planes, not with bombs and bullets, but with all the wondrous weapons of peace in the 20th century. And then perhaps together, all of the people in the world can share that gracious past with all the people of Vietnam, North and South alike.
We've come a long way in the last 2 years toward that goal. With your continued support, I believe we will achieve that goal. And generations in the future will look back at this difficult, trying time in America's history, and they will be proud that we demonstrated that we have the courage and the character of a great people. Thank you.
Sat on their park bench like bookends. Newspaper blown through the grass falls on the round toes. The high shoes of the old friends. Old friends.
Oh, it doesn't, no. I was hoping we'd be able to stop and I'd be able to talk to the pictures, but I guess I can't. That's the head of the SEAL team. These are SEALs getting ready to go on the next mission that we're going on. This is our hooch, one of the hooches. SEALs are amazing guys. I'll tell you. The yellow thing is a water buffalo. That's what we got our French water.
Make sure you point yourself out if you're in there. Make sure you point yourself out if you're in there.
These are all SEALs right now. Yeah, two days. That's the slick going in to let the SEALs out. All those holes are where bombs are Anybody want to stay for anything more?
It was fascinating.
You saw the SEALs being dropped off when they did the mission. On one particular mission we were on, it just happened to be very close to the base we were at. And right next to the base, you may see it in one of these other segments, there was a canal, we called it Route 66. And on the other side of the canal was where the VC were, it never landed. It was, we always could put in strikes there. On one particular mission, we prepped the area where we thought the bad guys were, and the SEALs landed in the rice paddy and immediately got pinned down behind rice dikes, which were no higher than one of these tables, and stayed pinned down all day long. Luckily, we were close to where our base was, so we were able to go back to Dongtan, hot rearm, stay turned up, hot rearm and hot refuel, and go back out again, put in more ignition, and back and forth, daisy chaining. Pretty much all day long they were pinned down. Nobody got hurt. And to show you the craziness of battle, I guess, in 1 minute you're real serious and whatever, and what I'm about to tell you, you can see comedy in it. SEALs were picked up by the slicks. They were dropped off in front of where our hooches were on the runway, and we had to go to another place to get refueled, which we did, and by that time it was dark, and the Huey only had one little tiny searchlight in the front of it, so we were coming in down the center line of the runway. Now the SEALs have been pinned down all day long. They were on the center line of the runway with their pants down, warning us. Sounds like a SEAL to me.
They were pretty happy.
Dave, one quick. Was there a way, because it's kind of hard to see in the video, I guess, maybe, was there a way you could actually see the SEALs, I mean, or know where they were? Was it just a trained eye, or was it somehow they were signaling to you exactly where they were?
No, you could not see them in the movie.
I couldn't.
Sit right here in the front row.
You can see them.
Oh,
Yeah, you can see
them.
them.
Okay, I just
They
said
weren't
that.
like big guys, they were just little guys.
Right.
Whatever those little the black objects were,
Okay.
but you couldn't see them.
Oh, okay.
And that's why we had to be at 300 feet, as a matter of fact.
So
to
you
keep
couldn't
them
see
in sight.
Right.
And were you in radio contact? So when they were
Yes.
done, you knew to go
Yeah.
protect the other
And actually, what they did was they popped the smoke and let us know. And what would happen is they would pop a green smoke or pop a purple or red one, because the VC were also on our radio frequencies, and a lot of times, in fact, I many times took off from our base, and they said, "Seawolf, we kill you." And they get on there. And they say, I was the officer in charge of that detachment. I was a commander then, a lieutenant commander, same as a major in the Army, and I was old by those standards over there. I was 32 years old. Most of the pilots were 18, 19, 20-year-old guys. They wanted to be John Wayne. The hardest time I had was trying to slow them down a little bit so that they wouldn't do anything stupid. When we got done with a mission, any mission, when we shut down, we would pre-flight the helicopter again right then and there, so that if we got scrambled in between times, we didn't have to go through a whole lot of pre-flight of checking the helicopter. We still had to check the hydraulics and stuff, but we didn't have to do the walk around. And those guys just wanted to take off and go without doing anything. I spent many a night walking the runway, just trying to talk to myself. I had three kids at the time, little kids, and my wife and family were in Rhode Island, and they had it tough, because we had it a lot easier where we were, because we knew what was happening. At that time, they didn't know what was happening, and the way we had to communicate with each other was by snail mail. They didn't have computers or the internet or whatever at that time, and we used to have to number our letters. Because sometimes letter number 10 would get there before letter number 1. So in order to be able to do it in sequence, we have to number the backs of the letters. I mean, I wish this thing I could see it when it was on fast. flight training, this will probably be boring to you. We had 2 pilots and 2 crewmen, and what we did was we tried to give the crewmen some flight time in case both pilots got incapacitated. Then the crewman might be able to at least bring the helicopter back or whatever, and be able to land it. This is the runway at Downtown. It's called the Old Reliable. It had never been hit by water fire. This is a monstrous Army base. The U.S. Army had left. The South Bay Police had it now. Still the goosebumps listening to the Huey. You guys that have been in the service and used to a lot of spit and polish. We didn't have a lot of spit and polish when we were out on detachment. One of the greatest things that I learned, the Navy always had a big op order or an op plan. They had how to do this, that, the other thing. We threw them in the garbage and did what we needed to do to get the job. Consequently, we weren't big on wearing uniforms all the time. As you might see right there. We knew what we had to do. We relied on each other for our lives, and we did it. That's the hooch where the pilots stayed. The tower we used to oversee that tower had been hit by a mortar fire. Half the tower. The whole compound where we stay on this big base. The helicopters are parked over here behind these guys.
Those guys there were only 18, 19 years old when they were flying.
Yeah.
They didn't go, they were pulled into the service. They were pulled into the service, and they went into the service.
No, they went into the service. They weren't drafted.
Now that they've got a new CNO, he just came on board, and he says he wants to stop all of this stuff for operational units because of problems they've been having with the seal. I just wondered how successful he's going to be.
Go ahead with that.
The new CNO, he came out and said that he wanted to take charge and become more spit and polish for these operational units. I just wonder how successful he's going to be.
I don't know.
Because, the operational units, that they're a whole different breed.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah. So I wish him luck, but I don't know.
I'm trying to think of whether, we didn't need to have a lot of, for what reason, did we need to do a lot of that. I think it would have gotten in the way if we had colors every morning and whatever.
It could be just the PC culture, too.
Yeah.
He has to say it.
That's a good question. The 2 pilots, those guys are crewmen. These are home movies. As you will see. We got to unload all the ammunition out of it. do because we were so heavy, we couldn't even get into Harbor initially. We had to get light on the skid. Luckily, we had the runway. Light on the skids and just keep going until we got through what was called transitional lift, which was then fresh air through the rotor system, and then we could take it up. So we installed.
Now that gunnery, how much did that helicopter weigh then with all that?
I don't remember what this was. Well, we carried a minute's worth of minigun ammunition. We carried 4,000 rounds of minigun. We carried 750 pounds of rounds of 50 cal, which was considerably larger shell. And then we carried 14 rockets, and we had our own personal survival gear and stuff like that. So they're pretty heavy. The Mekong River is right on the other side of that boat. Oh, wow. Funny story about we had a SEAL, as I said, we had a SEAL detachment out with us too, that were located maybe a half a mile away. And we didn't have any vehicles. Our group didn't have any vehicles. We used to have to go down to that same location where the SEALs were to get food. The Navy had their ship support unit. So we either had to walk or whatever. The SEALs used to go up to Saigon, which was about 60 miles north of where we were. And from the big Army Air Force exchange that was located in Saigon, they would steal vehicles. They would bring the vehicles. They had a regular hot car ring at their hooches. And the Army vehicles were all brown, that brownish green color. Navy vehicles are painted gray with black lettering on it, for those of you who might remember that. So they would literally file off the VIN numbers and stuff like that, paint them gray, and then give us a vehicle. Well, one time they gave us a carry-all, the Navy carry-all, and they would take it. It was great carry-all group, where we had to go to chow. The problem was it was the only carry-all in South Vietnam. Consequently, never any of the heavies would land right outside our hooches, and they'd look in there in our compound and they'd see this carry-all, wondering how the hell we got the carry-all. We had to start getting so much heat over it that we had to push it into the Mekong River and get rid of it. We had an Army helicopter unit on this base too, quite a ways away from us. They ended up going home, de-roasting home shortly after I got there. That's Mike Reed. That's the guy that did all the filming. He had the camera. I ended up trading. This is like MASH. I traded a Navy hard hat that was maybe worth $125 for a T-56 engine, which was worth maybe $250,000. That's Merle, that's our mascot. One of the guys brought him home. He met us on every mission we ever came back with, including with the SEALs when they were mooning us. He was out. Let me know if you want me to fast forward this. The trouble is I won't see where I'm going.
I spent about 12 years.
It must be a slide. Only you gotta anticipate which way you're going.
Did they get training before they even went over there?
Pilots did. Yeah,
They did?
Yeah.
Where? In the United States?
We ended up, well, we were already Navy pilots, so we
Yeah, oh, I see.
already knew.
Okay.
And we got Army training at Fort Rucker. The Army trained us in June, which the Navy didn't have. They had a special unit set up at Fort Rucker just to get the Navy pilots. Unfortunately, we drove the four Army guys crazy because we didn't. I mean, I already had a lot of hours. And we did things maybe others did, but the Army did them. And we always got this You knew every day, you know, the Navy was saying this, you never knew the Marine, but you'll be able to see a little bit of the hooches. But again, there I am. That's what the tax. Let's see, what's our hot tub? That's the gunner that got tail.
I can't imagine anything that's better. The world is awesome and we're
So we took a shower. It's a hot water heater. That's where the crew that's got tail right there. That's where we shave, shower. We killed a lot of banana trees. Paid the hooch maids, each of us paid the hooch maids $5 a month, which they were probably the richest people around as far as that's my assistant right there. Most of these guys were, there was a couple lieutenants, which these things were under captain, and most of them were first lieutenants, it was MJG. During monsoon season, we saw a lot of rain.
Could you fly in the monsoons?
Oh yeah. The Navy pilots were trained. We flew up areas at night. That was a big difference. The Navy pilots and the Army pilots and warrant officers didn't get a lot of instrument training. The Navy pilots did. So we flew. Most of my flight time is at 2 o'clock in the morning when these little outposts get attacked by the B-6. And again, luckily we didn't have the mountains that we had to worry about flying into. Animal boxes are filled with sand, so we don't get dragged. One of the gunners, big car. Documentary now made called Scramble the Seawolf. I don't know, those of you that have Netflix or whatever. It's about a lot of this film. That's our operation Philly. The officers shooting and one of the hot dogs. Have to go very far. And I decided what missions we would go on. To this day, there's an Army colonel that probably doesn't understand. He didn't think I had no brains to make that decision. Another field you saw where the tower was, control tower, and we could see pretty good thing of the area. We always had, because our area of operations was right across the canal from the VC, we always had visitors come down from Saigon who wanted to get their what was it called? Hazardous duty pay, I think maybe? Something, it's an extra $90 a month or whatever it was. So they could qualify for that. And they always wanted to see us put in a strike or whatever. We always could, because that area was a free fire zone, which meant anything that was over in that area was fair game to be fired upon without a lot of clearance or anything. So these guys would come down from the Naval Forces headquarters in Saigon to get their money, so they would qualify for their money. And I used to go up, I was a little wise guy, I'd go up in the control tower and I'd get concussion grenades. Anybody ever hear one of those things go off? They're like the flashbangs now almost. And I'd throw them into the mud puddles that were always around our hooches because of the rain. And they were always in whites. So they earned their pay. Along the same lines is the SEALs, probably to this day, have a rule, for whatever reason, that if you wear skivvies, everybody know what skivvies are? And you go into the SEAL hooches and they pull a skivvy check and you have them on, they're going to throw you into the Benjo ditch, which is not a nice ditch to get thrown into. And so you never wore skivvies when you went to the SEAL hooches for briefings or anything like that. Well, some Navy captain, like a bird colonel in the Army, came down from Saigon one day and he was wearing his whites, and of course he had his skivvies on, and they pulled a skivvy check and he went into the Benjo ditch. On that river, a lot of merchant ships are going on up to Phnom Penh in Cambodia along the Mekong River, and they'd be at the entrance to the Mekong, and they'd call us up on the radio, letting us know that they were coming in, and they would request us to fly cover for them as they went up the river, because they were sitting ducks, really, for rocket fire and stuff, which we did. And if we could, we flew cover for them. But there was a dock right there at the end of the runway at downtown, and they'd always stop and they'd offload steaks or booze to give us for doing that.
That's nice.
This is what it's like to fly in the rain. That's not covering the ceiling now, it's just putting it. This is probably the 15. It's my co-pilot, and raise it right up there, the damn shells would come out, they'd be so hot, they'd go right down behind your back. You couldn't go anywhere because you were strapped in. Everybody had burned. That's the base of Domtown, that's how big it is. That's Route 66 over there on the right. 50 cal ammunition that we end up, the Army provided it in Vietnam, ball and tracing. But it was, it would come back at you, it would ricochet and come back at you. And so that didn't like that too much, obviously. So somebody found old PT boat, World War II, 50 caliber ammunition, APIT, armor piercing, tracer incendiary. And the bullet itself. Copy I got. I'd love to have. Look up the documentary of Scramble the Seawolves before the video.
Most of it will be on Okemo Valley TV.
This is when the Army gave us all these parts. See me in my short shorts loading them. Like Doug Taylor, the gunner, made a comment one day. There's the most senior guy in the detachment and the most junior guy in the detachment offloading the truck. I don't know how to make a copy of it, and I don't want to risk
We're going to take a brief intermission while we draw our raffle ticket winners. And then, if Dave doesn't mind, we'll finish up. And those of you that are interested can stay and we'll watch the rest after we draw the tickets. Okay?
That's great. It's fascinating.
So if you, yeah, it is. If you need to get up and use the restroom
Or get another drink or whatever. So I'm going to make last call on the raffle tickets.
Okay, don't move. Stay right there.
No.
Oh, Dave's going to draw? Okay.
Dave, considering you're in the center of attention, this one tickets. There's one ticket. This is, okay, there was $138. So $69 goes to Fred.
You're kidding.
There you go.
Yay, Fred.
Job well done.
Another drawing here.
Wasn't it fixed?
That ticket had the star on it, right? Written in ink?
Yeah, exactly.
I had a little weight on it.
That's a good job.
You did good. We'll split it later.
Okay, so this is for the, okay, so the first prize is the large picture. And that's going to go to
Fred.
Oh, you're done.
let's see, Scott Strauss. No, Scott Stevens.
Oh, nice.
Maybe it's got Steve's?
Yeah, that's it.
So you get Calvin.
You get the large,
Calvin.
Yeah.
that's the large picture.
Calvin.
Okay, the smaller
Way to
picture.
go, Scott.
This one is number
The smaller
2.
picture is also Calvin. Both of them are with the American Legion contingent of some sort. Is Andrew
Sheldon?
Sheldon, yeah.
Well, this is gonna be rigged.
You got all the offers.
There's going to be some mad people. You keep pulling these names out.
Okay, that goes on that one.
Good.
God, you think it's loaded.
So this is the third one.
That's Andy.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
This is number 3.
Good job, man. There you go. You do well.
It's not gonna be late. He can come back again. He can come back again.
Okay, and this is, wow, it's, Marge McIntyre. Marge got this, this old
Right
post.
here. Buddies.
Buddies, okay?
Like Marge.
Okay, again, thank you all very much.
You got the big one.
Put it back on again?
Yeah, if you don't mind.
I've known her for 35 years.
Okay.
What we had happen was the Dutchman Park. We had a slick come from our headquarters to pick up the parts that were in the cargo net, as you'll see.
All the time.
Had trouble looking it up the first time. For those of you that are familiar with Hilo, the helicopter throws up a lot of static electricity and the rotor blades flying around. A lot of times you'll get zapped if you try to touch the hook on it right away. Usually they'll hit the ring against it on the cargo net itself.
So Dave, maybe you said before, but were you picked for this duty or you volunteered?
I was picked. I didn't volunteer. I volunteered to go in the Navy.
Right, but
They say everybody volunteered, but that's not true. They're going through people so fast.
let me put that over here. Oh, thank you.
He's going home.
skivvies on that, guys?
I had the nudist shorts. That was me.
The old style Bermuda shorts.
Now they're on a mission.
indoctrination. You train the 50 to fire right where the rockets were going. Well, the muzzle on the 50, you trained it forward, was right here as you were flying. And when you let the thing go off, and then you could jump. Oh, shit.
How many bullet holes you have in your aircraft?
I wasn't going to tell this story. Now, on one of the SEAL ops, we got the instrument panel shot out on a helicopter. Now, we had an armored seat that we sat in, but there wasn't anything in front of you except the instrument panel. The instrument panel got shot out. Everything kept running because they didn't hit the engine with a motor. And I flew back about 40 miles to an Army base called Lynn Long. Everything ran okay, except we didn't have many instruments. We had a little air conditioning coming through the front. I got out and shut down, and my legs turned to jelly.
Wow.
His wife had sent her that.
This is at where the main headquarters was in Bentooy.
The weather was hot most of the time, I take it, right?
Oh yeah, very hot and humid. In fact, this thing with flying helicopters is or any aircraft for that matter, but especially with helicopters, called density altitude, and the humidity affects the efficiency of the helicopter.
I got a windmill picture in there.
Yeah.
Whoa, you're right.
We couldn't take off with a full load of fuel.
So was that like a 2-year hitch, or how,
A year.
1 year?
Yeah.
And how about you guys now? How much hitch is yours?
I was in the Navy for 21 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You?
Normally a year, yeah. When you go to the combat zone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about you?
Ours
Andy?
fluctuates.
What's that?
Used to fluctuate between 4 and 4 months, 6 months, 7 months a year. All kinds.
How about you?
Years.
Yeah. How about you, Scott?
A year. Try not to wear out, we don't wear the Air Force out. They let them come back here in 4 months.
Well, you can't wear them out, though. Oh, my God. They'll whine.
Just drive the ball.
Are we still recording?
Yes, we are. I can put music behind it, don't worry.
Right.
Just fast forwarding this.
Yeah, you'll have to dub that. Oh, I thought you were really going this fast.
This is all on the Mekong River. We're all brothers that go on a boat ride. God
We
bless
love
you.
each other.
Thank you. God bless you. Thank
Being on the ground is not a fun thing to do. Like I told you, when I would go to, in fact, they had PFs and RFs, regional forces and provincial forces, which are really like their National Guard. And those guys I really respected because they were fighting for their little piece of land. They did not respect the South, the Army at all, because they raped and pillaged just like the BC did. But I'd go to Mito to get briefings. And I had to go by chief. And I didn't like that.
goodness.
Are you recording?
forget who the group was now, I have it home. It was called "We Gotta Get Out of This Place."
Oh, that's quite a, wow. Oh, that's great, Dave. You're the boss, huh?
Yeah. Boss?
Yeah.
That's what they call me.
Time it was, and what a time it was,
Very well put together.
Yeah, that's
and
wonderful.
Music with it, awesome.
a time of confidences. Long ago it must be, I have a photograph.
Your hooch maids even made it, that's good. Merle the dog.
Merle, the wonder dog.
Oh, that's great.
One of the guys took them home, too. The emblem was, the impetus behind it was the Lowenbrow beer.
Yeah, that's,
Huh.
yeah, wow.
Well, that's great, Dave, thank